Welcome to another video from your daily database insight. Now you already know what a database is, but now you need to understand the various components of a database, especially the storage structure of the database. The database is the collection of all the good stuff, the objects, the tables, and everything inside it that stores structured or unstructured data in a relational format. The database comprises of database files. Normally, if I would go ahead and right click this here, go to the properties, you will see database files, and they're going to be over here. So we have different types of database files in SQL Server database. And when I expand this here, you're going to see we have the primary database file, which is going to be the first one here, and this one contains the startup information for the database, and it also points to other files inside the database. Every database has one primary data file, and it is always having the extension as MDF. Then you have the log file or the log data file. In this one, it holds all the information used to recover the database whenever we are trying to undo and redo transactions. All of that is often stored in the log data file. It has the extension LDF. And then in here, we can add another data file, which is normally called the secondary data file. It's an optional additional data file. In this case, you're looking at a situation where you want to spread across multiple disks to kind of spread the load and improve performance. And at that point, you could add a secondary data file. And in this secondary data file, I would just call it whatever name that makes sense to me. I would say AdventureWorks data, and I would have it denoted with N for November, NDF. So it would be AdventureWorks, whatever I want to, whatever name works for me, but I will have an extension of NDF. So something else that you may also look at on this screen here is whenever you're having these data files, whenever you're creating them, the initial size can be specified here, and then also you can specify the growth for this specific data file that you want to have. You can enable auto growth or you can disable it. When you enable it, you can have the file grow based on percentage. So you can decide that you want to have this file grow based on like maybe 10% of the current size, or you want to have it grow by megabytes. Normally I would set this to grow by a single gig or 1,000 megabytes, 1,024 megabytes. And then in my environment, I always limit this data file to a specific size, and the reason is I want to be able to spread my data across multiple data files and across multiple disks so that I can improve IO on the disk. This is very fundamental in terms of trying to spread that load. So in this case, I would limit this to 100 gig. Once it hits 100 gig, I'm gonna probably get an alert telling me, hey, I need to increase space. And of course, I have monitors, scripts that are running to monitor my space, my current threshold in the event that I'm almost hitting my full capacity, so that I avoid full disk or full data file type of errors and stuff like that. So that's how you can add your secondary data file. Now we are coming to the next part here, which we call the file groups. The file groups in this case are gonna be comprises all a single file group is gonna be comprised of multiple data files. In this case, if we go back to the AdventureWorks here and look at properties, well, there we go, back to AdventureWorks and properties. we come back to the file groups here. We have multiple types of file groups here, but we're going to be focused on this one. So we have the primary file group as the default file group in every SQL Server database, but we can decide to create multiple other file groups based on whatever we are trying to achieve. Like for instance, if we were trying to create a partitioned table, then we would go ahead and create a file group for that partition table, and then we would create multiple data files for that specific partition table on that type of file group. In that way, we have our data sorted in a specific file group, and just for easy management of those specific data files. Again, we need to create file groups for file stream, and of course file groups for memory optimized data. We're going to talk about this at a later point, but let's say we wanted to specify different file groups for this database. So we can go ahead and add a file group here, and we can call this file group maybe data. Now this file group could be specified as a read-only file group, or it could be specified as a default file group. In this case, once we have our file group created, then we also need to go ahead and create files to add to our file. But in a nutshell, that's all about your file groups. Then and remember, file groups is a collection of one or more data files or database files. And then just right below that, you're going to look at pages, and a page is the smallest unit of data stored in your SQL Server, always about 8 kilobyte in size, and the pages are going to be existing within your data files. Pages normally have a page header, which pretty much contains the metadata about that specific page that you're looking at. This could be the page type, the space available, or the object identification. And they also have the different types of pages, which you're going to be looking at: data pages, index pages, allocation pages, and stuff like that. And finally, the least or the smallest unit of contiguous of data is going to be your extent, which is a collection of 8 physically contiguous pages totaling about 64 kilobyte in pages. So that's your summary of your SQL Server storage structure, and you have to maintain this in all aspects, especially for your performance and your recovery. And we'll see that especially when we continue going down the path of trying to understand how to improve performance in terms of tuning, and how to always make sure that your database is maintained in a proper way and your disaster recovery is in place. So if you want to learn more about SQL Server storage structure, then you can drop a chat on the comment. And if you would like to show somebody else about how SQL Server structure is comprised, then you must share this video. Thank you, and talk to you soon.